Hi everyone, I'm Steve Stoller.
And I'm Shannah Hayley, and this is Inside Plano, where we take you behind the scenes of our city.
We'll introduce you to the faces and places who help make this a great place to live.
And give us lots of reasons to love Plano. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Shannah. Happy summer.
Happy summer indeed, man. Is it ever hot out there? But you know, besides heat, the thing that July is all about for me, because you know it's me, it's our birthdays.
Yes, July 12th is mine, and yours is?
July 17th. Happy birthday.
I can't believe we're only born 5 days apart.
So we're work colleagues and birthday buddies.
Oh, wait a minute, 5 days in a few years.
Just a couple of years. So yes, so birthdays. So we'll be having some celebrations this summer. It was Plano's birthday in June, and here it is July, and it's our birthday. So feel free to drop us a note on Twitter wishing us happy birthday.
And we have so much going on in July.
Definitely, and particularly at the beginning of the month. Because the beginning of the month is, as we all know here in America, July 4th. It's Independence Day, and we have lots and lots of things to celebrate. So why don't we talk about a few of those, Steve?
Alrighty, well, birthdays, all things 4th of July. Let's go over a few things. The evening of July 3rd, the Plano Community Band will host a patriotic Pops concert. Talk about small town feel, concert in the park around the gazebo.
Yeah, you know, they do that all summer long. People love that, and that July 4th themed one is really special.
Such a nice place for a concert, too. I love that gazebo.
It is. I mean, it's kind of Norman Rockwell, isn't it? You know,
is.
A band at the gazebo, and you're sitting on the lawn eating a picnic dinner. It's fabulous. Well, you know, if you go to the concert that evening and get up the next morning, it is, can you believe, the 40th annual Plano Early Lions Club Independence Day Parade, which is, you know, every small town, right?
Great tradition.
Yeah, absolutely. So that starts at 9 a.m. on July 4th. And as always, they're going to start at the Plano ISD Administration Building, and then they'll go north on Independence all the way to Plano Senior High. So, of course, you know, fair warning, Plano, if you're out driving around on that day, there are going to be some traffic impacts. But what I recommend you do is park your car, pack up your kids, line the streets, and enjoy the parade floats.
And when you talk about tradition, you can really light up your day, and especially your night, with Plano's All-American 4th. Join us to celebrate the USA with a day of festivities and fireworks, live music, free kids zone with bounce houses and rock climbing, food and vendor market, and a fantastic fireworks display, all part of this free family market event. Fantastic fireworks display is the highlight of the evening. Everything kicks off at 4 and ends at 9:30 with a simulcast on our friends 97.5 KLAK at 9:30 p.m. You can come early to get a great spot for fireworks watching. You can bring your blankets, lawn chairs, and coolers, but you got to leave the alcohol at home.
Well, you know, you have to grow up sometime, but you can still have a good time. And I think this year they're going to have live singers as well, right?
Well, this year's event is going to be much bigger than in years past. There's, we mentioned the free kids zone. There will also be lots of food to purchase, the vendor market. The event is at the Oak Point Amphitheater, but plan to use the free parking at Collin College. There will also be live music with Hannah Kirby, Joe Savage, and Caitlin Sparks. And of course, we have to thank our official sponsor, Pizza Hut.
Yeah, what a great corporate sponsor for that event. We're excited that it's going to be expanded. And you know, people have been asking for more fun, more festivities on July 4th. So that's a fun way to get it going. So literally you can start the night before in downtown Plano at the Patriotic Pops concert and go all the way through the fireworks display the very next day on the 4th. But you know, July 4th, the actual holiday, has a little bit of an impact and a schedule change for your favorite music series, Steve, the Courtyard Texas Music Series. Because of July 4th, they're moving that concert to Saturday, July 6th. Then please feel free, you know, tickets are available. And the artist is William Michael Morgan. And honestly, a lot of people will say he's the very definition of an old soul. He's got a Southern vocal style, timeless sound, really honest lyrics, and it's kind of a new generation of hit makers, but along the style of a Randy Travis or an Alan Jackson. He's from Mississippi originally. He signed his first record deal when he was just 19 and hit the Billboard Top 5 in 2016. believe it or not, he has played the Grand Ole Opry more than 50 times. So these shows are great. They're stripped down, mostly acoustic shows. Steve MCs a lot of them. Are you MCing this one?
No,
this time?
Todd Rice is doing this one of your teammates.
Yes, yeah, well, it's a great series. So we encourage you, extend that feeling of July 4th all the way through Saturday and go to the Courtyard Texas Music Series.
I've been called an old soul before, but it's because I'm old.
I was going to say, is it the old or the soul that's being?
Yeah, it has more to do with age than anything else.
No.
So moving on from July 4th, I want to remind everyone, we have another big tradition in Plano that we have every year, and there's still time to participate in the Battle of the Badges. It actually started June 29th and continues through Sunday, July 7th. This is a really fun competition with a very good cause. It increases the donated blood supply, and all donors or potential donors who are unable to donate based on Carter Blood Care restrictions will receive a gift bag, free t-shirt, and the chance to vote for police or fire. And the dates of where this is happening: July 1st, they'll be at Harrington Library. On July 3rd, they'll be at Schimmelfinnig Library. These are all library locations. July 5th at Haggard, and July 6th at the Davis Library.
Absolutely, a lot of fun, and it's always a really friendly rivalry between our police and fire departments. But you know what? I've got something else fun for you. On July 13th, you should go to Davis Library because you can pick up a book and maybe a new furry friend, because our friends from Plano Animal Services are going to be on site for an animal adoption drive. Again, that's at Davis Library. It's from 1 to 5 p.m. on July 13th.
Give one of those little babies a forever home.
That's right, and read them a book at the same time.
Also on July 13th, Shannah, it's another downtown sessions concert at McCall Plaza in downtown Plano. These are free concerts and a great way to spend an evening in downtown. Grab one of the available seats or bring your own, and you can enjoy Hale Baskin and her Jazz Addiction with opener Joseph James. Beverages will be available from Fillmore Pub. We also have a second downtown sessions concert on Saturday, July 20th. The artist for that concert is Folk Family Revival. Don't be fooled by the name. These guys are not a folk band. Folk Family Revival is unmistakably alt-country rock and roll, but seasoned with Bob Dylan, Simon and Garfunkel, the band, Donovan, and many others that transformed American folk into the folk rock of the mid-1960s. Opener Justin Tipton takes audiences on American roots journey through blues, country, folk, and rock. He actually just wrapped up an upcoming LP with his longtime influence, Austin favorite, the Band of Heathens.
Man, Folk Family Revival, I was just thinking, I had a musical flashback to my childhood. I was like, oh, Bob Dylan and Simon and Garfunkel. I'm like, I might have to go to that one because that just sounds really awesome.
Do you want to hear my impression of Bob Dylan?
I do.
All right, there's a song called Serve Somebody.
Uh-huh.
Well, this is adapted to a McDonald's commercial.
Go for it.
Well, it may be a quarter pounder. It may be a bag of fries. But you gotta serve somebody.
I would apologize, Plano, but I'm not sorry at all that just
I
happened.
never said my impressions were good, Shannah, but they are impressions.
And they make me laugh, so they're good.
That's the intention.
That's right. Oh, pull it together. Okay, I work on this script. Sometimes towards the end of the month, I'm pulling things together, and our intention is really to kind of highlight all of the things that are going on around Plano, and I love to look at what's scheduled for Parks and Recreation and Plano Library, and I am not kidding when I say there are a million programs, it feels like, at our Plano Public Libraries between all of the locations and then the outreach van, just a lot of things going on. So it's really hard sometimes to decide what should we talk about, but I saw this one on the calendar and thought, we have got to talk about it. Because it just, again, gave me a flashback. I used to live in Kenya, and so reading the name of this program, I was like, oh my gosh, I hope this is open for kids of all ages because I really want to go. It's at Haggard Library. Sounds like a lot of fun. It's an African junior safari on July 16th. And kids and grown-ups, you'll actually get to meet some of the not so large but really amazing animals that are native to the savannas, which are grasslands in Africa. And you'll learn the significance behind their Kiswahili name. And Kiswahili is a very common language in most of East Africa. So thinking about it. It's going to take me back in time, and I might want to go on one of those tourist safaris with our library friends.
It's funny, a song comes to mind as you're describing that.
Oh, what song is
Hakuna
that?
Matata.
Of course, Hakuna Matata. It means no worries.
From Kenya to Hawaii.
Yes.
It's time for the family luau at the Muhlenbeck Rec Center, July 18th from 6 to 8:30. Come dressed in your luau best. Join us for a family night of swimming and fun in the center's outdoor pools. In-N-Out Burger will provide the food. Burger, chips, drink, and a frozen treat are included in the fee and are served until 8 p.m. Admission tickets can be purchased in advance at the Muhlenbeck Rec Center. Cost is $5 per person. Children under 3 are free.
And if you swim, it means that the burger calories don't count at all. I think it's a really good deal. Well, Plano, you can help us celebrate Harry Potter's birthday on July 24th with the Harry Potter extravaganza at Haggard Library. You'll get sorted into your house, in case you don't know already, attend a transfiguration and potions class, you'll discover magical creatures, and much, much more. Costumes are totally encouraged and all ages are welcome. Steve, I have to ask, are you a Potterhead?
Did you say a Potterhead or a parrot head?
I know that you're a parrot head, Mr. Buffett fan. Are you a Potterhead as well?
I really enjoyed the Harry Potter movies, but I wouldn't call myself a Potterhead. No.
Well, I totally am. I've been addicted to those books. I read them as an adult because that's when they were released, when I was an adult, and they're great. And I don't apologize for it all because what a great book series that captivated children and adults alike, and it certainly has lived on. So maybe I need to go figure out what house I actually should be sorted into. I'm pretty sure I'm a Gryffindor. Anyway, what else do we have going on, Steve?
Well, the Friends of the Plano Public Library do a ton to help support the library's great programs, including Harry Potter and Safari Adventures. If you remember, they provided the funds for the outreach van we talked about last month. This month is a major fundraiser for the Friends, their annual book sale. This year, the sale has a slight change in schedule. It actually starts Thursday and ends Saturday, July 25th through the 27th. You can visit the Friends page for details on the sale.
Yeah, and they'll tell you on that page there's certain days that are best days for selections, certain days that are best days for pricing, so check it out.
That's a really popular event.
Absolutely. So, hey teens, are you guys the next Steven Spielberg? If you're in grades 6 through 12, you can show off your filmmaking skills by participating in the July 27th Teen Short Film Festival. All you have to do is submit your masterpiece. The rules and guidelines are on the Haggard Library Digital Creation Space blog, and we're going to put the link to where that is in the show notes.
With us today is a very special guest. It's our new city manager, Mark Israelson. Mark, welcome.
Thank you, Steve. It's good to be here.
We say new city manager, but certainly you're not new to the city of Plano. You're going to experience your 20th anniversary with the city soon?
That's right. The end of October this year will be 20 years with the city.
And I know you've worn a lot of different hats since you've been with the city of Plano.
I have. I have been around and been through quite a few departments in my journey to become the city manager.
Well, Mark, we always like to start our interviews by asking our guests to tell us something about themselves that we don't know about them. How about with you?
So for me, after graduating with my bachelor's degree from the University of North Texas, I actually spent time working as a youth sports coordinator for the YMCA. So that's actually where I started giving back to the community with my time there with the kids in Denton. And it was one of the most rewarding experiences that I've had in my life. It was one of those times that taught me that giving back to your community is something that really fills certain people's cup and certainly mine. So I spent time chalking fields, organizing leagues, and ended up being a baseball coach. And that's really how I got into the field of local government.
It's interesting. We had Jamie Cantrell here from Animal Services, and he told us he's a referee. He's really into refereeing.
Yes, he does those Friday night lights and spends a lot of time traveling around the state doing that. And Jamie is one of our amazing department directors that we have, and just great people that work for the city, and Jamie's certainly one of them.
So Mark, I mentioned that you wore a lot of different hats at the city. Tell us a little bit about your history.
So I started off in the budget and research department. I was a budget analyst after spending a few years in the private sector as a utility and regulatory consultant, and came in to work on the city's water and sewer rate models, build some drainage rate models, and was hired by Karen Rhodes, who's still there as our director of budget and research. and spent time doing sales tax analysis, working on some legislative analysis, the CIP, and then some operating budgets. After that, I was lucky enough that Tom Muhlenbeck hired me to be the assistant to the city manager, which is kind of a special projects position, and worked on franchised utilities, which goes well with my background, and very special projects, including ending up running the housing program for the Katrina evacuees that came to the city of Plano. A few years after that, they hired me to be a director for a department that we've now merged within finance, but it was the Customer Utility Services Department that handles all of our meter reading, utility billing, and then I kept franchised utilities with me at that time. A few years doing that, and they hired me to be an assistant city manager, so I ran the Customer Utility Services Department and supervised a number of other departments, including what was property standards, technology services, libraries, and then we kind of rotated departments for a while. Did that for a few years, and then Bruce was hired to be our city manager, our previous city manager, Bruce Glasscock. And as he became the city manager, one of the needs that we had was for a government relations office. And I talked to him about starting that department for the city. And so I transitioned from being an assistant city manager and supervising several departments to going back to creating and running a department for the city. And so spent time in Austin and Washington, D.C., talking to them about what the impacts of legislation would be for the city. And then became a deputy city manager after that, supervising our public safety group, including police, fire, 911, emergency management, libraries, animal services, parks and recreation, and our health and sustainability group. And then finally, my last position before this was as a senior deputy city manager, which means I was supervising all those folks that I was as a deputy, but then had some additional responsibilities when our city manager was out running the city when he wasn't there. So I was the number 2 guy. So yes, lots of different jobs.
And what an incredible honor, challenge, and opportunity to follow in the footsteps of names like Bruce Glasscock and Tom Muhlenbeck, who are so well known and so respected and admired in our community.
I've inherited the most amazing organization and the best community in the country. I have zero doubt about that. And we have the most amazing team. I've come into a great situation, but we have a lot of work to do, and we have a lot of things going on in Plano right now that are going to be very big and very impactful for years to come. So I feel very fortunate. I've been mentored and groomed by 2 great leaders in this organization and had some amazing opportunities that have prepared me well for this transition. So it's been a couple of weeks now, about a month and a half, and it's been a quick 6 weeks with a lot of things going on, and we still have a lot of work to do.
Mark, a lot of times when city government is portrayed in the media, TV and film, you see the mayor having a strong hold on the government. You know, he's the guy that's making all the decisions. The council city management form of government is quite different than that. Explain, if you will, the difference in how a council city manager form of government works.
You know, that's a great question. You're exactly right. We operate a lot more like a corporation than we do what people see out there on TV and in movies. So we have a board of directors, which is our city council, and then we have a chairman of the board, which is our mayor. And all of those folks serve as elected officials in a part-time capacity. They have a CEO, which is their city manager, that really runs the city on a day-to-day basis. So our mayor and council, they set the policy, they set the direction, they set the vision for the city, and then they turn it over to run on a day-to-day basis to their CEO, which is me. So it works very well, but it's very much like a corporate environment.
Being new to this position, what are your priorities for the near future?
The near future is we have 3 new council members, and our city council has 8 positions. So 3 new council members is a good number for us to transition in. And so making sure that those folks have the information they need as they transition into their new positions is critical to get done as soon as possible. But we have a budget coming up, and we have a lot of infrastructure and big projects coming through. We have the Cotton Belt Rail Line going to come to Plano here in the fall. We have some big projects like Collin Creek that are ongoing, and we'll see how those projects materialize. And then we have a lot of infrastructure needs. So we're working on the repair, the maintenance, and even in this case, this next year, rebuilding of a road. Roads are a big, big issue in Plano, and we intend to stay on top of that.
Mark, those who know you know that you were instrumental in coming up with the concept of SERVE, a value system for people who work on Team Plano, employees of the city. If you will, tell us a little bit about SERVE, what it means to you and to the city.
So SERVE is our value system, and the reason why it means so much to Plano is recognized as being a leader in local government, not only in the region but in the nation, and that's something that means a lot to our employees. And the values of SERVE, so we have stewardship, engaged, respect, visionary, and excellence, were developed by our employees. And so if you're looking for what the secret sauce is, why Plano is Plano, and why Plano is different than a lot of other communities, it's those values, and it's how they're embodied and how they're incorporated into how we deliver programs and services in Plano. It means something to our employees. If you go through and ask them about those values, it's embedded in the DNA of who we hire, of how we carry out our services. And SERVE is something that I'm really proud of for Plano, because I do think it's what sets us apart.
And finally, Mark, how do our constituents in the community get in touch with you if they want to go to the top and talk to the city manager?
Well, I'm always available via email, phone calls, and through all of our other staff. It's not just me. I work with a team. So if anybody needs to get a hold of me, if they know somebody that works within the city, the majority of our employees know me and know me quite well. They can either reach out to me directly at marki@plano.gov, or they can reach out through any of our other employees, and I'm happy to meet or talk with anybody regarding issues that are going on in Plano.
And honestly, Mark, I've been with the city 5 years, and one thing that's always stood out to me is that the city listens to people. You know, it doesn't matter the concern, how big, how small, we listen and we address those concerns.
Absolutely. We're here to serve the community, and we deliver programs and services on a daily basis, and we care about our citizens. If there's a way that we can make things better, make things happen, we're happy to do that. And that's one of the reasons why I do answer phone calls, answer emails, get out in the community and meet with citizens, is because taking care of those issues is something we take pride in Plano, and it's something we will continue to take pride in.
Mark, thank you so much for joining us on our Inside Plano podcast, and we wish you all the success in your new position for the future.
It's much appreciated. I look forward to working with you for a long time to come.
Mark Israelson, Plano City Manager. Once again, thank you for joining us.
Steve, that was a great interview with Mark. There have been a lot of changes in the city over the last 6 weeks, for sure. You know, we have, as he mentioned, 3 new city council members. We have a new city manager. It's just, you know, every organization goes through change, and I think we're in great hands with the city manager that we have leading us.
I agree. I've been thinking a lot lately about potholes.
Really?
I've hit a few of them.
Have you?
It's pretty common after we have these heavy rains that we have just a proliferation of potholes.
Mm-hmm.
We're no different than any other city. But we may be different in one aspect, in that we have a very aggressive program, probably more than ever before, to try and fill these potholes and get them repaired as quickly as possible.
I think the Assistant Public Works Director, Dan Pendergrass, gave a presentation in front of council. I want to say it was in early June, and he really talked about this aggressive program. And can you talk about, because there was a wide range from what they were filling per day compared to what they're filling now. It just kind of blew us all away.
It's a new approach.
Okay.
So what they did to start the program was they went out to try and discover where are the potholes. They had their inspectors go out and drive 10 miles per hour on all the major roadways in Plano. So they covered the majority of the city. And you know, normally we have about 240 pothole requests at any given time. By doing that, it went up to 3,700. There's 3,700 potholes.
And that's every kind of pothole. That's an
Right.
itty bitty crack pothole to, you know, the car eating monsters that we've seen.
And the majority of these, they put this asphalt-based patch on, and you know, it's flattened down by just traffic going over it, and that's a good temporary fix. You know, the roadways eventually, especially the worst ones, will be graded and then scheduled for other repairs. So it's a temporary fix, this patchwork, but it saves the cars from being damaged by going over potholes, which is a pretty common thing. So another thing we're doing is normally Public Works has one pothole repair crew. Well, what we've done is 2 or 3 days out of the week, we take the guys who pour the concrete for sidewalks and roads, and they're devoted to pothole repair. So usually on, I believe it's Thursdays and Fridays, instead of having one crew, we have 5 crews. And the goal of this program is to address all 3,700 potholes that we have.
Right, and again, temporary fixes until they can go back, but they don't want to damage your car. I think Dan said that because of that switch in staffing, they've gone from filling an average of 40 a week to 250 a week. It's just
Exactly.
crazy.
Yes.
Well, I think it's fair to say we'll be talking a lot more about potholes as the days are to come, because it's pretty interesting how they grade the roads and what they do to, you know, we don't want to be in an F quality road, and it's really hard to maintain an A, you know, so how do you maintain an A to prevent it from going downhill too fast? And we'll be talking about that more in the future.
You know, in every city, potholes is always one of the top complaints that you hear from the residents. So I think our residents in Plano can take solace knowing that we really are making a very aggressive effort to address this problem, and quickly.
Right, and keep submitting them through Fix It. I think a data point that you mentioned, Steve, that astounds me. You know, we tell people all the time, submit your requests through Fix It. If you see something, say something, essentially, about a pothole or a broken street light. Even encouraging people to do that, we really only had 200 and something in the system. And Dan said, you know, hey, we're going to take some time and we're going to drive every street. And the number wasn't 200 and something. The reality was 3,700, right, is what you said. So there's a, you know, what that means is a lot of us have just been patiently enduring and not reporting. And that doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help your car. It doesn't help your commute experience. And it doesn't help the city keep track of things. So please feel free to use Fix It to
And
report
for
things.
our listeners and viewers who don't know what Fix It is, this is
Yeah.
an app that you can download on your phone. There's a variety of things you can do, but just for example, you can take a photo of a pothole, you can put in the location of that pothole, and it goes directly to Public Works and it automatically on the list to be repaired.
Absolutely. Now there's, by the way, potholes, what I was going to say, are not the only thing. You know, anything that you see, that it's a wide variety. Hey, I saw a downed power line. I see a pole that's leaning. I've seen an abandoned car. You know, there's just a whole host of things that you're like, somebody should take care of that. Check on Fix It, because there's probably an opportunity to submit there and somebody's going to take care of that.
And by
once you submit.
taking a photo, you can show the people at the city exactly what's occurring and what needs to
Absolutely.
be fixed.
Absolutely. Well, you know, the thing that I've been thinking about a lot lately, because it is summertime and we're spending a little more time out on the patio after the sun goes down and I'm not baking anymore, and we are being eaten alive by mosquitoes. So just, they're terrible. And I tend to have, I guess I have a blood type, or I'm just so lovely, I'm irresistible to the mosquitoes, and I'm getting tired of being bitten. The other day, one of our mosquito control experts in environmental health and sustainability said something that just really blew me away and brought an issue to my attention. She said, if you're seeing mosquitoes, you're probably breeding them, because they don't actually have a very long flight path. So they tend to stick in a certain area. And I was like, oh my gosh, these things that I hate, that I'm running and buying citronella candles to ward off, are actually a problem that I have in my own yard. I think we interviewed the Director of Environmental Health and Sustainability a couple of years ago, episode 9, so a long time ago, and Rachel told us that it doesn't take very much water at all to be a breeding ground for bugs. It could even be in the lid of a soda jar lid, you know, if there's
I
water.
asked Rachel that very question the other day.
Yeah.
She said it takes the equivalent of a bottle cap full of water.
That's just crazy. So that's, you know, that is a little bit of burden of responsibility. So, you know, you have a couple of choices. You could hire a company to come out and adulticide your yard. You could spend a lot of money on citronella candles. You can spray yourself up with bug spray. But an easy thing that you can do as a starting point is like walk your yard and see if you have any standing water. It could be in a plant drip tray. It could be underneath your hose bib. So just make sure you don't have standing water that's creating a nice place for those things to breed. And then, of course, you know, when you do go outside, make sure that you're practicing all of the D's to protect yourself, and that does include wearing long sleeves, which really stinks, I know, during the summertime. Wear some kind of bug repellent. The ones with DEET are really good, and DEET is an FDA-approved way to ward off bugs. If you really don't like the idea of a chemical on your skin, there are some organic alternatives: eucalyptus, citronella, as I mentioned earlier, orange peel. Try what you can, but the best thing you can do for yourself is to keep from getting bitten in the first place.
All right, good advice. And we always like to end our shows by talking about food, and here we go again.
That's right. Maybe we're a broken record, but I don't care. So we had an article come out in, the end of May or June issue of Community Impact, where they did an overview of all of the restaurants that have opened in Plano for the first 5-6 months of the year. How many did you say it was?
27 new restaurants.
It's just unbelievable. Obviously we're still keeping pace on our statistics, but what I thought was interesting about that article was that they have become more specific in food types when they're categorizing them. It gets down to, is it a bubble drink place? Is it a frozen food place? Is it a ethnic Chinese place? Is it classic American? It's really surprising how varied the food groups that we bring in, or food joints that we bring in, compared to back in the old days.
And if you consider it's only June,
Yeah.
If we continue at that clip, that's a lot of new restaurants in the course of a year.
And you and your wife, you try to go out and eat quite a bit, but you try to stay in Plano. Our sales tax is good. It's a good revenue source for everybody, and we want to support our neighbors who own these restaurants. It just, I used to be a big Yelper, and boy, it's overwhelming. I'm like, if I tag all of the new restaurants, I think literally eat out 2 or 3 meals a day and not get through all of the restaurants. So it's just, what is it, Steve? Why do we love food so much in Plano? What is it about Texas?
Well, it's not, I always say I'm addicted to food, but you do need food to survive, and you do like things that taste good. And we have such a big variety, it's nice.
It is. Well, Plano, when you hear us talk about food in any way, shape, or form, and by the way, we hope you do survive this summer by keeping away from mosquitoes, avoiding potholes, eating something tasty, all of those things. It's a good time to be in Plano. It's a new day, and new things are coming, and we're excited about it. Before we sign off, we're going to ask what we always do. Please leave us a review on whatever podcasting service you listen to on, because it helps other people find our show. We enjoy coming and talking to you each month, and we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Take care, everyone. Have a great summer.
All right, bye, y'all.
And that's it for our Inside Plano. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did doing it.
If you have any comments or suggestions, send them to us at askplano@plano.gov. Bye.
Talk to you next month. The Inside Plano podcast is brought to you by the City of Plano and 97.5 KLAK.